fan favorite of the Philadelphia Eagles, has been cut. The work, the process for Howie Roseman has begun this offseason. We're going to talk about Avonte Maddox, the Eagles, and what's going to happen. Sixers. Well, I think it sums it up last night. They stink. We're going to talk last night's disaster and how much blame is on Nick Nurse, if any. Flyers made a trade. Pretty much why I can't get into the Flyers. Trending in the AM, as always, taking your thoughts and opinions. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, follow wherever you're watching, but most importantly, get interactive with the show, as this show is driven by, yes, you, the fans, the listeners, your comments, your thoughts. So get involved. If you're watching on Twitter, you can comment. Click on the video, the box pops up. We're going to keep pounding the table on that until everybody realizes Twitter comments are back. Guys, I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, every single morning here on the show. You can find me any social media platform that I'm on at Beard and Knowledge. I greatly appreciate that. We got lots to talk about. The shoe is dropping for a lot of teams. NFL free agency is right around the corner, and teams are trying to get under the cap, create more cap space, and do what they do. The Eagles are no different there. As yesterday, breaking news, Eagles have decided to cut 6-year veteran Avonte Maddox from the team. First shoe to drop of what's going to be a whirlwind of an offseason for this Philadelphia Eagles team. So that's part one of the equation. What's going on in the NFL? What's going on in free agency? What's going on everywhere? And what's the Eagles' plan at cornerback now? In the last 2 days, we've lost two people, two long-term Eagles in Jason Kelce and Avonte Maddox. So we're going to get into that. We are. Sixers just go out and embarrass themselves last night in South Philly to the Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to tackle that for sure. I mean, we have to tackle that a little bit because it was pathetic last night. And if K1 wants to hear some Flyers talk, I know the Flyers made a trade yesterday. Don't know much about it, but I do know there was a trade to be made. So we'll talk about that. Phillies, whatever else you want to talk about, bring it into the equation. Get those comments, thoughts in, and make sure you're hitting that like and share button wherever you are watching. Von Miller, contract money moved. Okay. I don't know much about the Bills other than they cut a bunch of guys. Had to make a decision on Maddox. He could still be part of this team. Yes, there is rumors that the Avonte Maddox situation will play out similar to Darius Slay, where he will be brought back eventually. I don't know. Don't know if it's necessary. It better not be on a big deal like Darius Slay got last offseason. So we'll see how that plays out with Avonte Maddox. Go Eagles, little G. Go Eagles. Poyer and Hyde to the Eagles. I don't want all the Buffalo Bills cast off. And this is the thing that annoys me about free agency, and especially the first couple days of free agency. The first couple days before free agency, when everybody gets cut, and then the first couple days of free agency, where Howie likes to lie in wait, pounce at the right moment. Let's not overreact to every player on an NFL team that's cut has to be an Eagle. And let's not overreact to every player that needs to be an Eagle that doesn't become an Eagle. Let's do that. Let's try to be patient with NFL free agency this year, guys. You can't see me. I put my glasses on just so I could see you. I'm trying to adjust. And I did do some Googling last night. And supposedly when you never worn glasses before, it could take up to 2 weeks for your body to really adjust, and I'm having a little trouble adjusting, so we're working through it. Wasn't Maddox released before and brought back? Howie trying to work them numbers? Maybe. Did this happen before with Maddox in his 6 years here? Maybe. I don't know. Look, Avonte Maddox, I know he's been here for a long time. He's played inside, he's played outside, he's played safety. He's been a jack of all trades in the secondary for the Eagles. But the guy can't stay healthy, and you can't help the club from the tub. So to me, Avonte Maddox being released, he does not need to be brought back. He doesn't. At least that's my opinion. Avonte Maddox, to me, is more of a liability than a positive. So I'm okay that he was cut. I don't need him to. If you need to bring him back because free agency in the draft doesn't go according to plan, a backup option, that's fine. But Avonte Maddox being cut, I'm okay with it. I really am. He's been with the Eagles for 6 years, TMC, and he's missed a lot of games on the regular, especially the last 2 years. Checking in from the bada bing. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, K1, so it's good for you. Hey, there's Flyers news. We might talk Flyers for 2 seconds today. Maybe. There's a slight chance. We'll think about it. I'm warning you, once Hurts money kicks in, stop. Don't worry about it. Forget about it. Yeah, forget about it. So far, the only cut has been Avonte Maddox, obviously. Obviously, Kelce retired the day before. So we've lost 2 long-tenured Eagles on this team. Sixers are as dead as pie, oh my. Great reference there. Great reference. Great reference there. Except we're not getting any insurance money on the Sixers like Ralphie and Tony did on Pie oh my. We do not need all new corners. We need some new corners, though, for sure. Don't overthink the glasses. Soon you will not think about it again. I'm open. It's getting better. It's definitely better on the driving aspect of it, which is what they're mainly for. I'm far enough away from my computer where it does help. It just, I don't know, it's not registering yet. So we're working through the glasses. I don't think it makes sense with bringing back Maddox. He wasn't good when he was available last year. I think he played through a lot of injuries last year. I mean, he was injured and missed a lot of time, Marshawn. But I think he missed even more time, or he should have probably missed more time. Probably came back a little soon because the secondary was struggling. And yes, he did not play well, but I think that was the injury. But you also got to remember, Isaiah Rodgers was brought in here at a very, very team-friendly deal. 23-year-old was a hot shot young 22-year-old the last time he played with the Colts. Zach McPherson will be returning from his injury. And we don't know what he's got, but he was eventually supposed to be that replacement. You got Ricks, you got Ringo. You still got Bradbury, and you still got Slay. Bradbury, to me, is the interesting one because I see Bradbury still being on this team in 2024. Maybe he's got a battle for it. Maybe he has a rebound under Vic Fangio. I don't know. But him, it's going to be a tough one there. Darius Slay's more likely to be moved. But you still got Slay and Bradbury. You got the rest of the battle out for the slot as of this moment. Every year, more talent floods in. Let the veterans go. It's how it is. I don't know. You got to have some veterans on the team. He wasn't good when he came back later in the season. The beginning of the season, he was pretty good. Exactly. I just think he rushed back from his initial injury that kept him out for so long. He saw Bradbury and Slay struggling. He saw that there was help needed. So he did what he had to do to kind of rush back. And it is what it is. Isaiah Rodgers does still need to be reinstated. There is no guarantees, but based off of everything, there were a lot of chatter surrounding Kenny Moore at the trade deadline last year. Perhaps Howie revisits. Yes, Kenny Moore. He's more of a slot corner than Isaiah Rodgers. Look, Isaiah Rodgers will be reinstated, it seems like. I would not worry too much about that. It was his first offense. Roger Goodell has basically given everybody, that one shot and reinstated them, I wouldn't be. I would be utterly shocked if Isaiah Rodgers was not reinstated. So I'm not. I'm not too worried about that, Marshawn. I think he will be here. But Kenny Moore, there was a lot of talk. There was a lot of chatter. There was a lot of content creators pining for Kenny Moore here. Perfect for the slot. We'll see. I was told yesterday on Twitter that Isaiah Rodgers is more of an outside guy and a special teamer. I was also told he stinks and is terrible. I disagree with that. But with his size, he's a prototypical slot guy, Isaiah Rodgers. So we'll see. And he did play some slot in college. So I think we've got options. And Avonte Maddox isn't necessarily necessary to bring back. There might be a rant at some point today. There might be. I don't know. I mean, Tobias Harris sucks. Zach Ertz went to the Washington Commanders. The Flyers traded for a first-round pick, so traded away a vital part of their defense or their team. I don't know what I should rant about today. So I ran about the fact that I just saw a reel that was the intro of DuckTales, and I'd rather watch DuckTales than go to work today. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, Mitch, what the rant is today, if there is one. Aim higher? No. It's a lifestyle philosophy. Just be better. You need to aim high in the comments. Cox is gone. Deal. Yeah, Fletcher Cox. We didn't really dive into that much yesterday. But it does seem like Fletcher Cox is most likely on his way out the door. Not to another team, but to retirement, which would be another veteran name, another long tenured Eagle off the board, off the team. And you know, there's already the locker room is already on shaky ground. It is. And there ain't no way around it. It is what it is. You can't lose all these veterans. Like all these veterans, all these leaders. If Cox goes, Maddox. I mean, what's Dallas Goedert, his best buddy, and I think they were roommates. Think about it. You know, losing many veterans on this team, many leaders on this team, all in the same offseason can be sketchy. Can be bad for business. Please no Sixers talk. It's fatigue to talk about this team, especially the Cookie Man. Unfortunately, you have to talk about the Sixers because the Sixers are an 18-win team. They rolled out a team last night that wouldn't win 18 games in a regular season if that was your regular rotation. Pathetic last night. Kyle Lowry couldn't play for rest load management. But, dude, you just traded for this guy. Maxey's out with a concussion. Embiid is still out. Roko's been out since December. And Lowry can't play a second game in a row. Get the f out of here. The Sixers were embarrassing last night. I see Kelly Oubre saying, well, you know, the more talented team doesn't always win. Sometimes, you know, whatever. Look, no. You weren't the more talented team. And you weren't the team that fought more. Honestly, you guys had like 12-point lead going into the fourth quarter. With 5-6 minutes left, you were still up. You just collapsed. You just gave up. It was like you wanted to lose the game. Like for draft positioning. The Sixers team is now in the 8th seat in the Eastern Conference. They got a chance to fall to 9. 11 of their next 12 games are against playoff teams. There's a chance that Joel Embiid doesn't come back because in the next 12 games, the Sixers might be in the 10 spot. Pathetic. So you do got to talk about it. And you got to continue to talk about Crumble Cookie Man, which is Daryl Morey, not Tobias Harris. Keeping Tobias Harris on this team, a joke. Tobias Harris staying in the starting lineup, I don't care how bad the team looks. There ain't no need for him out there. Tobias Harris needs to be benched no matter what. It's pathetic. Avonte wasn't a main guy. He wasn't a main guy. But he had friends in high places. Dallas Scott. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. Isaiah Rodgers' move by Howie Roseman was a genius move. Getting him while I forget what we traded for him. But it was like nothing. We literally gave up nothing for him. It was such a great move. This was the plan all along unless Maddox had a super year, which he did. Rodgers will be good. I agree with you, Tim. I'm not worried about it. I know a lot of people are talking about Avonte Maddox coming back post June 1st. That's like a plan C to me. If you strike out with your top 3 choices in free agency, if you strike out in the draft, then sure. You want to bring Maddox back on a 1-year, $3 million deal? Sure. But that's it. If you ban players for gambling, then the entire NFL would be banned, including Roger Goodell. Maybe. Or maybe, when rules are set forth, you just follow them. There's a rule. Told you on day 1, no gambling in the NFL. So why gamble? Just don't do it. Kind of feel like it's pretty easy. Bradbury as a trade bait package. Don't we still have what's his face we got from the Colts? Isaiah Rodgers. Oh, yeah. Bradbury ain't going nowhere. Most likely. Maybe he gets cut post June 1st. But I saw a thread from ESP, from WIP, and basically the only positive of cutting James Bradbury is that you get James Bradbury off the team. It doesn't really help the cap much. It doesn't really move the needle one way or another. I don't know. Bradbury, I'm almost willing to see if Bradbury can have a rebound season versus cutting him and going Rick Ringo on the outside. That's just my opinion. Unless you can go get McKinsey in the draft or one of the elite first-round cornerbacks, which I still don't think Howie Roseman does in the first round. I still think he goes offensive line or defensive line in the first round. That's just me. Don't be shocked if Howie trades back from 20 to the 22nd pick to gain more assets. My guess is James Bradbury is a Philadelphia Eagle in Brazil week 1 against whoever. Sixers keep showing signs of life, then flatline. It's fatiguing. It really is. Look, I was seeing Kelly Oubre's comments about how they weren't they were the more talented team, but they were just outworked. I think a whole bunch of guys actually overachieved for the Sixers last night and the last couple games. There's, obviously Kelly Oubre overachieving lately. At times when he's given the opportunity. Ricky Council, Dalton Jr. Who? Dalton Jr. Overachieved. Campaign overachieving. But you got Tobias Harris and all the injuries. You got Tobias Harris underachieving, providing 8 points in 35, the most minutes played last night, and he scored 8 points. Only had 6 rebounds, only 3 assists. Literally did nothing of positive yesterday for the Sixers. So you got a bunch of G Leaguers and a $40 million man. Problem is the $40 million man should be playing in the G League. That's the problem. They show signs of life. Some guys are trying to fight for careers in the NBA, but the guy that you need to carry the team. I see Nick Nurse say, they double teamed him a lot. They played hard defense on him. Dude, get the fuck out of here. The Memphis Grizzlies stink. Even with their players that were missing. And they were missing just as many starters as we were. They stink. Kennard should not be the best player in the game last night. Yes, Isaiah Rodgers. You can thank me. I've been mentioning his name since we traded for him. Reports have it that Howie is looking to bring young talent to solidify the defense for years via free agency. Names the Eagles. Xavier McKinney's a big one, man. First off, he's a former Giant. It'd be great to steal him from the Giants. What's he, like 24, 25 years old? Love it. Patrick Queen, I don't know if Howie does it. Here's a funny thing with the Eagles. And Howie's got a lot of work to do. And I don't know if this includes, I think they only saved like $1 million or something like that on the cap with the Maddox cut. I don't know if this includes the Maddox cut. The Eagles right now on Sport Track are listed at $40,722,000 in cap space. That only ranks 16th, middle of the pack in the NFL in cap space. There is a lot of teams with cap space. Um, so there's actually how many? There's like 7 or 8 with negative cap space, which means there'll be some players cut. But yeah, there's a lot of teams that are going to want Xavier McKinney. There's a lot of teams that are going to want Patrick Queen, and we have $40 million in cap space right now. I get that, but there are teams of 50, 60. The Washington Commanders have almost $100 million in cap space. So there is going to be that Howie Roseman needs to really sit down and be like, who are the 2 guys we just have to have? Is it McKinney and Queen? All in. Whatever they want. Or does he wait till the big ticket items come off the board and then goes and gets 5 or 6 quality guys? It's tough. It's tough. We're not the only ones out there right now. Ertz to Washington is nothing. I know. It's just Zach Ertz playing in our division. It annoys me. Zach Ertz is an Eagle. I know not everybody stays an Eagle forever. But going to Washington or Dallas or the Giants just feels icky to me, Tim. It does. Icky. Is that a good description? Like, I hate it. Hate it. Current highest paid is Lane Johnson. He's the best right tackle in football. Sean Walker was a vital part of the team. You need new glasses. Who? Sean Walker? What? Oh, is that the Flyer that we traded? I didn't say it was a vital part. Is that who the Flyers traded? They just traded somebody that's played every game for them for a first-round pick. Protect it. That's my problem with the Flyers. That they're a playoff team, but they're still going to be sellers at the deadline. How can I get motivated to watch Flyers hockey when they're the 6th seed in their conference? Is it the Eastern Conference? I don't even know what hockey conferences are called anymore. When they're the 6th seed and they're sellers. Make it make sense. Can someone please explain the Flyers training in basketball terms? It's a Sam Hinkie move. They're not ready to contend, they don't think. So they're going to sell. They don't care that it might hurt them this year, and it probably will hurt them this year, Marshawn. I'm trying to think of a Sixers trade that would be comparable, but I can't think of one in recency that would be like that. Speaking of shaky ground, good morning. Of course, Eric, how are you? I'm well. Hope you're well. I muted when Phil started talking Sixers. Stop. Perfect opportunity to show the Stop shirt available in my t-shirt store. Linked in the description of this video down below. Stop. I'm also my Core 12, the Gatekeeper shirt. And, of course, the original Fairway to Heaven. Not some copycat donkey league. And doing that really made me fall behind on the comments here. Lose my place. 3 more years of Slay. Cutting would be 33. Dead cap money means nothing right now. FYI. With the cap where it is, you're seeing more and more teams cut guys. Who cares? This is the year to take dead cap money on. 12 likes already. Core 12 showed up early. It's now, can we get it to 15 or 18? We used to get 25, 30 likes a show during football season. Not anymore. Not happening. Let me know when he is done. Who is done? Stop with the Sixers talk. Predictable fourth quarter collapse. Mitch, everybody's muting the show. Because you want me to rant about Tobias Harris being god-awful. I've never seen a man play with such little amounts of confidence. Because let's be honest, Tobias has talent. He's a talented basketball player. Not elite, but he's talented. He is playing with no confidence. And Nick Nurse is doing him a disservice by running him out there 35 minutes a game. Free agent content and NBA, we talk what's trending. And everything is trending. Even you are trending. I'm going to mute you. 13 likes. More than Tobias' points last night. And you know, it's so funny. I'm trying to listen to Ala and Kate, and they're trying to hype it up. He's had, two, 3 really good games in a row. They're like, 30 points this game, 25 this game, and 18 and 9. Like, no, the 18 and 9 game wasn't that great. They lost that game. He looks to be ranting about Daryl Morey. You know what? I'm ranting about you guys. You know what? I'm going to change the narrative of this show. It's no longer going to be where your opinions matter. It's going to be whatever I want to talk about. And you guys just got to listen. Whether you like it or not, just wait till baseball season gets in full gear. You guys are in for it. All those guys out there and still no blank and Ricky Council. Dude, free Ricky Council, man. I mean, they might be trying to get a lottery pick. I don't know. Maybe they are. Like, no offense, Ricky Council might not be a great basketball player. I don't know. But he's been putting in the work. And Nick Nurse said, yeah, he's been putting in the work. But we're going to play the other guys because they're a little bit better. You're telling me, and I know Doughton Jr. had a good game last night. 10 points off the bench. But he played 24 minutes. He just got here? Seriously? Ricky Council got 9 minutes last night? Get the fuck out of here. You cut Kevin Byard. Yes, we did. So it saved us $13 million in cap space. We are familiar territory with the 76ers. Marshawn, you once asked me, how will the 76ers disappoint us this time? Well, I think we've got our answer. They're going to disappoint us so bad this year. They might not even, well, they're going to make the playoffs, but barely. I'm just think of this. They are 11 of their next 12 games against playoff teams. And the non-playoff team is Charlotte, who we just beat, who might want a little revenge. There's a chance we don't win 3 of our next 12 games. That's how bad it is. We might go 3-9. 3-9 over our next 12 games puts us at 38 and 36, a 500 team. God damn. It's bad in Sixers land. Not worried about the locker room. Always worry about the locker room. Phil is like Jeff Bridges in Arlington Road when he finally figures it out. Yeah. I just hope I have a better ending than Jeff Bridges had. We would have to give a lot to trade Bradbury because of his contract. James Bradbury's not getting traded. He might get cut June 1st. Might. But that's I'm really thinking, Doc, is there a scenario where it's more valuable to the team to hope for a rebound from James Bradbury as long as you've got other options? If James Bradbury comes out week 1 in Brazil, plays like he did at the end of the season, you can't give it 10 weeks, but 2 or 3 weeks. See if the Vic Fangio system sets in. To me, there's a scenario where James Bradbury makes more sense to keep than cut. I'm curious to see if Fangio has it in him to make impactful adjustments. Does he have the smarts and the marbles to call a cornerback blitz like Spags in the Super Bowl to give Mahomes the ball back? Marshawn, it sounds, in theory, a really good idea what you're saying here. But in theory, you got to have a cornerback that can actually tackle. And Bradbury and Slay can't tackle based off of last year's form. Now, Bradbury might be better. Slay might be better. One of these young kids might be able to tackle better. We'll see. But we'll see what happens there. I'm curious about Fangio as well. Now he's going to draft 2 offensive linemen and a backup quarterback. Then Quez Watkins shooter. I don't know. I saw Liam, his most recent mock draft that lasted like an hour before because he had Avonte Maddox being traded in the draft, so I got avoided. But he had another small, like 5'7" wide receiver drafted by the Eagles. I'm like, get that out of here. I'm going to continue to mute Phil when Sixers speak. I'm ready for NFL free agency, and it's happening. This next Tuesday, just think about next Tuesday's show after the tampering period opens, and we hear all the rumors going on. Next Tuesday is going to be a whirlwind show. Same thing with Thursday after free agency officially starts. Picked the Sixers to win by 5 last night, but said the Grizzlies are playing with guys who have nothing to lose. The Sixers are playing with a few guys that got nothing to lose too, Tim. Problem is, they got Tobias Harris weighing them down. That $40 million is without Maddox. I think the Maddox cut only saved them $1 million or $2 million. But we'll see. Maddox post June 1st would be an $8 million add to that. Yeah. It's weird. It's weird that they just straight up released them. The Eagles are a desirable destination more than a lot of teams with money. All right, so that's I am so far behind on comments here, obviously. Way far behind. Yeah, they're a desirable location. But let me go back to this. Teams ahead of them that might be more desirable. Cincinnati's seventh in cap space. They're over 50 million. Detroit's over 50 million, almost 55. Houston's got 70 million in cap space. There's a lot of desirable places with money. Trotter played for the Commanders at one point. I know, and he had to come back to save his reputation. Sam Hinkie move. All I needed to hear. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, that's my Flyers description. Knowing nothing about the Flyers, I call the Flyers trade a Sam Hinkie move. You need one really good, impactful safety and four quality guys. I watched a silly Ho interview with Warren Moon. I was so jealous of how good the Seahawks are ran. Howie does the opposite. Howie runs a good team. Yeah, they're overachieving. I get it, but this is Tim. This is why I can't. Like K1 always wants to know, why am I not talking more Flyers? This right here is why I don't talk Flyers. Yes, glasses fill. I'm 30 minutes in with the glasses. I'm getting close to having to pull them off here. It's getting hard to see. Pound the like button if you like Phil to stop talking. If you can tell me this video has 20 likes on it, I will not mention the Sixers the rest of the show. There it is. You want me to stop talking Sixers? Share this out, get us to 20 likes, and I will cancel the Sixers for the rest of the day. Not for the rest of the week, just the rest of the day. Seahawks draft really well, develop and use free agency to fill the gaps. We use free agency to reshape our core and try to draft to fill the gaps. Next week, I'll be a guest and not typing. Says who? The host has to invite you on, Tim, to be a guest. I have full control over who appears on screen next to me. I don't know. I'll have to think about it, Tim. I'll have to think about it. Interesting experiment. Mute Phil during Sixers ring. Get us 20 likes. And I'll talk Eagles. I'll talk Phillies. I'll talk whatever you want to talk about. You get it to 20 likes. K1, it works. I'm tired of the cookie man. I know. We all are. But it's still a relevant topic. I noticed he dropped the pen and went for the pencil. Hidden meaning. Is it? It just, I don't know. The pen's right here, too. Hold on. I'll go back to the pen. At least with the pen, I can put you on the list. Money is the most desirable currency. Eagles aren't necessarily the best example of success of last year's implosion. Yeah, I mean, we are a team. We are a team that's a desirable location because of the chance that we are a Super Bowl contender. And yes, George, if you're listening, even on replay, we are a Super Bowl contender. But the implosion last year, all right, so one team offers you $50 million. The Eagles offer you 45. One's a Super Bowl contender, one's a playoff. You're going to take that 50. Now, if it's 50 and 49, maybe you take the Eagles. Maybe not. That implosion may scare somebody off. The glasses make I'm not in control, so I'll take them off. Man, that makes it so much harder to see when they're actually working. They really are. Problem is, give me a little dizziness and a little headache. And I Googled, it is something that happens when you're wearing glasses for the first time. It says anywhere from 3 to 2 weeks of adjustment. I started wearing them on Sunday. I wore them for a brief period on Sunday and a brief period on Monday. And I've been wearing them nonstop basically for the last 2 days. Times it's getting better. The glasses give Phil the falling down vibe. I'm not falling down. If it's a $5 million difference in salary, it's not much of a conversation. $5 million is $5 million. If somebody offered me $5 million, I will hit end show right now. If somebody drops a $5 million super chat, dude, I will never talk Sixers ever again. If that's what that person wants. Hell, for $5 million, I'll sell you the rights to Trending in the AM. The best show that not enough people watch. Just telling you. Don't fall into the crowd. Pull your internal Fidel Castro and control the show. I control the narrative. There's a wrestling reference for you. I control the narrative. I steer you guys. You don't know it, but I steer you guys in the direction I want to go. And the more I talk Sixers, the more you complain about me talking about the Sixers, the more it makes us talk about the Sixers even more. I'm steering you in the right direction. I am. Just saying. I'm in control, not you. Phil can't control his own vision. See, that's the problem. This is not by any fault to me. This is somebody else breaking my face into 1,000 pieces. That's what this is. And that's why the glasses came. That's all I'm saying. 4 million super chat. This is the best I can do. If you drop it, Eric, you are the champion of all champions. But no one will be dropping no 4 million or $400 super chat. After all, we are not communists. Are we sure about that? Long story short, I was at a barbecue, summer of 2006, right before my wedding, and there's baseball going on at the barbecue, and I was reaching into the beer cooler to grab some beer out, and someone said, "Think fast." And instead of thinking fast and putting my glove on in the middle of doing everything, I just looked up. I got hit in the face with a fastball. Someone threw me the ball, thought I had my glove on. Obviously didn't. Broke my orbital here, 4 different spots. Part of the muscles in the back of my head got stuck in the bone, did some damage. If you look really closely and zoom in, you can tell my pupil in my bad eye is smushed and always bigger than the pupil in my good eye. These glasses, there's no lens in this one. It's just or prescription. It's only in this eye. So it's been a deteriorating thing for about 16, 17 years now. And it's gotten to the point where it's a problem. So, yeah, when someone says think fast, duck, don't lift your head up. That's all I can say. When someone says think fast, you should go like this. Not go what? Like this. Because that means something bad's coming. Yeah, I didn't work for like 3-4 weeks after I broke it because it was really bad. Who's the captain now? Who's the captain of what? I'm the captain of this ship. I'm the captain of the trending in the AM ship. There ain't no doubt about it. This is all me. 100%. Was he? I don't know about that. He probably paid everybody. Everybody probably threw him meatballs just because they were scared of him. Just saying. You know what doesn't get talked about enough is the fall of Cuba in The Godfather and how they handle that scenario in The Godfather. It's a great underrated part of the Godfather trilogy right there. Fractured orbital bone. We all know about that in Philly sports. We do. It's funny. I've never sprained an ankle, jammed a finger, done anything. I've had 2 traumatic injuries, both very relatable to sports teams we know and sports teams we hate. Obviously, I have the broken orbital, which terrible. And I basically had the Alex Smith injury, just maybe a little bit worse, happened to my leg in college, playing pickup football. Double compound fracture, almost amputated leg. So I've gone from never hurting anything to having 2 massive injuries. And they both are going to be lifelong problems for me. So it is what it is. Point out the guy, Phil, and the Core 12 will make sure he's sleeping with the fishes. No. Just break his orbital in 4 spots. That's all I want. Let him know. Yeah. Anyway. All right, we're only 40 minutes into this show. How many likes are we up to, guys, on this? I'm caught up on comments. Let me refresh this other side screen so I can see how many comments or likes we've got. We're up to 13 likes according to that. 2 of them by me. Not good enough. That means the Sixers are still on the agenda. And at what point will Nick Nurse finally bench out Tobias Harris? Or whatever people you want from free agency that were cut yesterday. I tell you, they're probably not good options. And why? Flyers, make a trade. It's Philly season. Baseball's almost here. Guys, it's all on the table. Dang, did you beat him up for? No, I did not. In fact, he came to my wedding. Okay, I have a story. As you know, my name is Duck. In high school, someone yelled Duck. I was looked around, was hit in the head with one of those foam rockets right in the forehead. That's interesting. So that's how you. That's funny. That's funny. I don't know how true it is, but that's funny. Just don't look. When someone says duck, don't look. Nothing more important than family. There's always this. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing's more important than family. 40 minutes into the show, and we broke out the Godfather talk. You guys really don't want me talking about the Sixers. You really don't. But I don't care. Because I'm going to keep pounding the damn table that Tobias Harris needs to go to the bench and be if Ricky Council can be a DMP coach's decision multiple games in a row, gets 6 or 7 minutes other games, then Tobias Harris could get a DMP coach's decision. I know there's nobody. If you're going to lose, at least lose in style. Don't lose with lack of effort. First, stop talking Sixers. Talk, then people don't leave. I don't care. Leave. Peace. Deuces. I'll talk whatever I want. Unless you're super. I'm going to get to the point where I'm only going to put your comments up when you pay for them. We'll be like one of those other a-hole content creators that charge you to put your contract or your content, your comments up on the screen. You're all trying to. But the more you fight it, the more I'm going to fight back. Just saying. Kurt Angle won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. And I'm hosting a podcast with glasses and a broken eye. So I'm just basically Kurt Angle. Maybe better. Mitch Morse is super gold. Good center. Bills can't afford him. Seems like the Bills can't afford anybody. Harris playing the strategy. If he does well, sign and trade. If he doesn't, Morey will sign him cheaper. Morey liked him, loves him. Yeah, look. I've said it before. Tobias Harris. We're going to be talking about Tobias Harris at this point next year. Because he's going to be a 76er next year. Mark my words. Tobias Harris will be a 76er next year. No doubt about it. It's my name. How am I not supposed to look? Well, it depends on how it was said. If it was said, yo, Duck. Or it was said, Duck. If it was said, Duck, then you know to duck. Basically, yeah. The Cookie Man needs to stay in the locker room. Please. No more Cookie Man. Daryl Morey's the Cookie Man. He's the one that made the cookie reference. Not Tobias. And Tobias, they must be trying to get a lottery pick with the way they're playing right now. Must be. He needs to get the kiss of death with the I know it was you. I know it was you, Fredo. I don't know what he needs to do. He needs to get a little Jimmy treatment. Take him. See if he's got a wire on. What is your favorite part about being a content creator? That's tough. That's really, really tough, Mitch. The connections I made, not the connections, the friendships I've made with some people, Scotty, with Jason Voorhees, Jason Sullivan, Mark Moschitelli, Mitchie, you, Mitch Bernstein. I've made a lot of friends. I've met people, Carter, Cole, lots of great people, too many to name. The people I've met and become friends with, JP, El Parcero, the people I've made friends with. Hell, I've gone on vacation with some. I've gone, I've hung out with plenty of them. Gone to Phillies games with some of them. Dylan. That's my favorite part. I made lifelong friends through it. Talking sports is fun. Getting to chat with the Core 12 is great. Side story, I'm a very introverted person by my real personality. This is all facade. I'm very shy. This forces me to be a better person. It helps me with my business more because it makes me be more outgoing. There's a lot of good things about it. But the lifelong friendships I've made, Mitch, that's it right there to me. Chat, drown out the Sixers talk. Yeah, I gave you something different. I gave you a little insight into me. Ooh, I don't know. That's a tough one. I can't. I have to think long. I don't want to insult any song by just naming one. Now he's lashing out his faithful few, suffering through Sixers talk. You know what? Sorry. There should be more than a faithful few. Talking about Tobias Harris and his leadership quality. See, it's all Morey's fault. The Cookie Man's legal team is strong. Morey has never led a team to a title. You're talking to the guy that has said that since the day he was brought here. He's moved players based on players he likes and not building a great roster. He's the Doc Rivers of upper management. Daryl Morey might be one of the most overrated executives in all of sports, not just in basketball. All of sports. Said the day he got here, and guess what? He ain't going anywhere anytime soon, Tim. They signed him to an extension to line his contract up right with Nick Nurse. Morey's going to be here. and he's going to have control of all those draft picks and all that cap space. And when it fails, and fail it will, then he's going to be responsible for trading Joel Embiid. And when that doesn't work out, then in about 5 years, the process is going to start all over again. I have zero faith. Zero faith. Where Liam? Liam's around. Busy. Have you ever gone fishing? I have never slept with the fishes, my man. And no, I don't fish. It's too boring for me. Daryl isn't responsible for the cookie man. He is. He could have traded him. Daryl could have gotten rid of him multiple times, but he didn't want to. My guy, you are far from introverted. I actually am very introverted. This is a very fake facade. I force myself to be outgoing on a daily basis. It actually started when I went to work on cruise ships back in 2003. I was 10 times shyer than I was now. I went and got an entertainment job in front of people, and I was shy and as raw as could be. That got me out of my shell a little bit. This gets me out of my shell a little bit more. If I walk into a crowded room, I'm going into the corner and standing at the bar. I'm not going up and talking to people randomly. Just not what I am. I'm a very introverted person with a very fake extroverted personality. There's actually a medical condition, about it. I read an article, plays into my anxiety and different things. Don't want to get too personal or anything, but I am a very introverted person. We were always destined to play the process forever. The process is going to be on repeat. 5 years from now, we'll have no NBA titles. We'll have nothing to show from the process. We'd be right back to square one, which is where we're at right now, basically. Because let's be honest, there are some of the process teams would have beat last night's Sixers team. A team led by T.J. McConnell, Brandon Davies, Jonah Bolden, Tony Roten. That would have beaten last night's team. Just saying. At what point do you realize that the greatest guest will be available starting next week? I'm not sure. Is Larry Bower or Larry Anderson going to come on here? Dan Orlovsky? Are they available to come on next week? Some of the guys I've hit up that never answer. Kevin Naganu? Is he coming on? Is Jonathan Coachman coming back for another appearance with the beard? I don't know. Which one of the greatest guests of all time are you talking about? It's written in the stars, like 2010 WrestleMania. Yeah. Is that which one that was? I remember the written in the stars. I didn't remember what year it was. So, if you did karaoke and had a few beers, which Elton John song? Philadelphia Freedom. Because I would get to say Philadelphia over. The only time I ever sang karaoke was when I worked on cruise ships, and it was my job. I hate singing karaoke. I hate the sound of my voice, even though I used to sing. Hate it. So it would only be, and it wouldn't be a few beers. It would take a couple shots to get me to sing nowadays. I only sing in my car, and I do sing a lot in my car. What would you tell Tobias Harris if you were right in front of him right now? I would tell Tobias Harris, Mitch, to go to Nick Nurse and ask for a break. Be like, I need a mental break for 2 days, 3 days. Get me away. Please. I don't mind if you bench me, Nick. I get it. That's what I would say. No one would ever say that to their coach. That would be awful, but I don't know. This organization has won ring since '83 and had more players in the NBA's top 75. Process is Philly. Yeah. Jaws, I've had Jaws on before. He is still alive, Ron Jaworski. He does Eagles post game on the main local sports channel. I've had him on. It was one of my first guests I ever had. One of the 5th podcasts ever that I ever did. 6 podcasts. Pretty awesome to talk to the Polish rifle. Pretty big honor to have him on. It really was. I've reached out for him to come on Trending, but he ignores me. You called out my greatest guest comment. I dropped my phone and missed your rant. Something tells me you're not going to be the greatest guest ever, Tim. I watched the movie Philadelphia for the first time this weekend. The Tom Hanks movie? You've never seen it? It's an emotional movie, man. Deep movie. And it's definitely about a time. I'm old enough to remember living through the late 80s, early 90s. and that situation in the world. I remember it. Grab a rebound. Marshawn to Tobias. Don't get blocked so easily. I don't know. I would tell him to take a seat. Ask for a benching. Go to Nick Nurse and be like, yo, coach, I am hurting the team more than helping this team. It's okay if you've got to do the unthinkable and bench me. Like, I really would consider saying that. I would. Caught up on comments again. I want to get back to the Eagles because you guys like to talk Eagles. You don't want to talk it. We got about 30, 40 minutes left in this show. And there's two things I want to bring up, Eagles related here, that I still haven't brought up yet today. Ray Diddy was on WIP, and Ray Didinger got his book right there, signed by him. It's an interesting conversation because me and George, who comments sometimes on the show, always debate and always argue over Jalen Hurts and whether this team, the Eagles, are primed for a deep run again or not. We're always disagreeing. Very friendly. Become a good friend of mine. This is a Super Bowl playoff team the Eagles have. Ray Diddy said the Eagles need a right guard, one or two cornerbacks, a linebacker for sure, maybe a safety. A lot of needs for a Super Bowl playoff team. There is a lot that the Eagles need to do. They got $40 million in cap space. They've got draft picks. But that is a lot of holes on a playoff team that expects to go back to the playoffs the next year. That's the first thing I want to bring up. The second thing I want to bring up that we didn't get to last week that I've wanted to talk about a few times. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. There are a whole bunch of Eagles Nation that want the Eagles to bring him back. And I ask why. Eagles fans have very short memories of everything this time last year that CJGJ, or whatever his name is, said about Philadelphia and how much he hated it here. And now everybody wants him back. Everybody was ready to lynch that boy. And yet now they want him back. Another Denzel Tom Hanks movie, maybe American Gangster meets Road to Perdition. Road to Perdition is a great movie, honestly. Very underrated Tom Hanks movie for sure. If you talk Sixers again, last one out, hit the lights. Gotcha. You have to feel bad for Tobias. He's had 5 years of hate because of his contract. It's not his fault. He's the same player he always was, just not. Tim, I've said that 1,000 times. I am a Tobias Harris fan, deep down inside. I do feel bad for him. And it wasn't, again, I saw my man Mark Moscatelli sharing out the video of Jimmy Butler said, you chose Tobias over me? They did not choose Tobias over Jimmy Butler. They gave him the contract because they had no choice. They'd already lost Jimmy Butler. Couldn't lose him too. And all the assets traded for those two guys. It was a tough spot. There are a lot of guys around the NBA, and have been for a long time, that are on max deals that don't deserve max deals. Hell, the Bucks, or Chris Middleton, he's a max player. Now he has succeeded, and his team has succeeded more, so it's not badmouth as much. But he's not a max guy. There are a lot of max deals in the NBA, and I do feel bad for him. I really do. I hope he's got a strong mental brain up here because it's got to be beating him up. Ray Diddy is wild. I don't know what you're talking about there. Safeties are everywhere, but don't read my post. I read your posts. Can't put every one of your posts up when you spam the comments, man. I gotta skip sometimes. Chauncey missed 6 games, so he played 10 or 11 for the Eagles, and he missed played like 5 games this year. There are a lot of people that want him back, but that would be option not A, not B, not C, D, E, F, G, H. It'd be option like M or N at safety for me. Because why bring a guy back that badmouth your team, your organization, your fans? In an already shaky locker room, mind you. Road to Perdition might be my favorite Tom Hanks movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I've seen it a few times. It's a great movie. I don't know if it's my favorite. That Thing You Do, clearly the greatest Tom Hanks movie ever. Written, directed, acted in it. You know, my dream was to be under the Playtone record, label. That when I was a singer. You know, the Own Eaters. You know, you have a guy in the movie that you can't even give a name to. You just call him the bass player every time you mention him. Tobias Harris over me is even more relevant in the year of our Lord 2024. It is. But it wasn't. They chose Harris over him. And you know what? I'm sick and tired. Now, I think you guys have found a way to get me off the Sixers talk. Because I don't want to talk about Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. I'm so nauseated, not because of the glasses, but because of that conversation that I've had to have, like, literally, and this is not sarcasm, 500 times in the last 5 years. I wasn't even doing podcasts for 5 years, but I've had this conversation 500 times. I hate it. It's exhausting. It was a bad move. He's a good player on a bad contract. It's a shame they didn't bring the amnesty clause back for 1 year in the last 5 years. Because he would have been amnestied like that and then re-signed at a cheaper deal. Because Daryl Morey is going to keep him here. Daryl Morey is not letting Tobias Harris go. He is going to run it back. He is going to sign Buddy Hield. 3-year, $60 million deal. He's going to bring Tobias Harris back on a 2 or 3 year, $15 million per deal. If Daryl Morey was willing to give Korkmaz a 3-year, $15 million deal, knowing the guy never plays and didn't want to be here, let me tell you, Tobias Harris is definitely going to be here. Funny. Funny like what? Like a clown? Like he amuses you? Dante Jackson is good. He got cut. There's a lot of people that got cut. There's a lot to sift through on all the players that were cut yesterday by a lot of teams. Exhausting is making 480 pizzas on a Monday and doing a show the same day. Oh, I see what you did there. And you want to be a guest on my show? With the lack of respect that you show me? Jimmy Butler wanted out. There was no way that Jimmy was staying. That is incorrect, Mitchie Poo. Incorrect. Jimmy Butler wanted to stay here. Jimmy Butler wanted to play with Joel Embiid. Jimmy Butler wanted the Sixers to fire Brett Brown and maybe move Ben Simmons. He wanted full control of this team. He wanted it to be his locker room. The Sixers chose Ben Simmons and Brett Brown, so Jimmy said, get me the hell out of here. That is how it played out, Mitchie Poo. Just saying. Jimmy Butler did not want out until the organization gave their vote of support to Brett Brown and Ben Simmons over him. And here we go again. Be stuck talking about the Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris situation. You actually traded at the deadline more for Tobias Harris than you did than Jimmy Butler. Once you lost Jimmy Butler, you could not let Tobias Harris go. I'm not even trying to defend him, Marshawn. I'm not. I just keep getting backdoored into talking about Tobias Harris. I'm trying to get off of Tobias Harris. I'm trying to talk about the Eagles. I am. But here we go. People bringing up stupid stuff that makes me get back into Tobias Harris. Chad has failed in its quest to distract from the brutal Sixers. Yes, they've distracted. They bring me right back to it. Elton looked at Tobias and said, Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. Yeah, exactly. That's exact. If that's the case, then there would be no reason why Elton Brand's getting looks from other teams to be their GM. Blech. Not a coffee creamer. So I used some ice cream, but there were chocolate chips in the ice cream and like cookie pieces, and now it's all at the bottom. It's gross. Can't have coffee without a little cream in it, sugar, something sweetener, a little ice cream. If you're ever out of coffee creamer, it's perfect in ice cream. Hangs head in shame. You should hang your head in shame. You should. Phil gets the Jimmy Butler situation 100%. Dude, it doesn't take rocket science to figure out what happened with Jimmy Butler. Brett Brown and Ben Simmons aren't here. You wonder why Jimmy Butler keeps hitting that he's wanted to come back here. Every time you think you're out, they drag you back. Once I think I'm out, they pull me back in. That is not my Al Pacino impersonation. That's my Silvio Dante impersonation, just so you know. Mute, re-enabled, go for it. Knock yourself out. Rant Phil, quiet Phil is greater than Tobias Harris. I could give you 5. I could give you 5 more effective minutes on the court than Tobias Harris. Because at least I've tried. At least I put effort. Now I might get destroyed out there. I might miss every shot I take. But I'm going to try. Vacation is when you go someplace and you ain't ever coming back. The keep pulling Phil back in Godfather quote. It's a Sopranos quote. Your coffee is built like cookies and cream, man. Yeah, yeah. You deserve bad coffee. No, I don't deserve anything. I'm working my tail off for you guys. I don't deserve bad coffee. I don't. I deserve more likes on this show. I deserve more comments and more shares. Let's see where we're at now on this like board. We are still at 13 likes. I guarantee there's at least 3 or 4 people watching this video right now on YouTube that haven't liked it. It's pathetic. Randolph is greater than, yeah. Who is Shavlik Randolph? I don't even know who that is off the top of my head. Phil sounds like the macho man, Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. I mean, me doing wrestling impersonations is more entertaining than talking about Tobias Harris. Choosing Tobias over one James Butler will and should never be forgiven, but it didn't happen. So you know what? If you would have said choosing Brett Brown over James Butler, you got an argument to be made there. But that's the only argument you can make. Deserves got nothing to do with it. Exactly. I hate when people say they deserve something. You don't deserve nothing. You have to earn it. I thought I earned more than 13 likes, but I guess not. I guess not. I guess I haven't earned the attention I think this show deserves. James Butler, the Duke of ass kicking and taking names. I guess. All right, guys, you're watching Training the AM. Again, like I said, there's only 13 likes on YouTube, 3 on Facebook. Make sure you hit that like button, the share button, the subscribe button, that retweet button. Wherever you're watching, please make sure you go to my personal YouTube page, linked in the description down below. Click subscribe on that. Make sure you're following me on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, at Bearded Knowledge. We roll right on here. We keep rolling. We keep rolling. What? Keep rolling. That's a really relevant reference right there. Eagles free agency. Avonte Maddox cut. Jordan Poyer. Everybody wants that guy back to complete the Eagles process. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson not coming back. Reports from Adam Schefter on Hassan Reddick's situation. And his reports are right in line with what I've been saying since second one. And that's you're not getting a major draft pick for Hassan Reddick. Just as much as it's maybe there's an argument to be made, it's smarter to keep Bradbury over cutting him to save a couple bucks. It might be smarter just to give in and extend Reddick for 2 or 3 years at $25 million, then trade him for a 3rd, 4th round pick. Schefter saying the Eagles want a 2nd, but realistically would probably accept the 3rd and 5 for Hassan Reddick. Is a 3rd and a 5th round pick more worth than just paying Hassan Reddick what you already know you've got? You want to give him 22, he wants 25? Give him 25. Now, if you can get a 2nd, great. But it don't look like you're going to get a 2nd round pick, like I've been saying since day one. There's all on the table as we continue. Wrap up the final 20, 25 minutes of the show. Tobias Harris is the king of the crumbled kingdom. Click subscribe to discuss the Jimmy Butler decision. It's not James, it's Jimothy. Jimothy. That's funny. Jimothy, the Butler. Poyer and Jamal Adams are going to be the starters. And guess what? We will have the worst secondary back into the secondary in all football. Jamal Adams is washed. Poyer isn't washed, but I don't know. He's 32. I want you. If you're going to spend big money, go get Xavier. Go get 24, 26-year-old guys, younger guys that you could build around for the next 5 years. I don't want 32, 33, 35-year-old guys getting big contracts here. I don't. I hate it. You would take a third and a fifth round pick for Hassan Reddick over just giving him a 3-year extension like he wants. I'm asking this 100% seriously, K1. And I'm not sure what's more valuable. That fifth round pick, I mean, it's inconsequential. Guy's got 27 sacks over the last 2 years for your team. Is he really worth parting with him just for a third round pick? I mean, Howie can now the third round pick. If he does do that, Howie better now that pick that he gets for. Cat tore his meniscus. That's breaking news for the 3 people that care about the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the rest of the league could care less because Karl-Anthony Towns, terrible, overrated. The best big man shooter in the NBA. Who cares? Marshawn is a funny guy. He really is. Funny? How? Like a clown. Like you amuse us. What's up, Travis? The Heat has 1 star every rotation, not just Jimmy Butler. You don't want old guys, but you want to pay a 30-year-old edge rusher $25 million. Okay, so first off, I said I don't want the 32, 35, 36-year-old guys. 30-year-old edge rusher is still in their prime. And I'm not saying giving them a 5 or 6 year deal. I'm saying a 3-year deal, which most 3-year deals are really just 2-year deals. So you're only paying him until he's 32. Just think of that. That's what I'm really saying. I'm not saying give Hassan Reddick a 5-year, $90 million contract where we're stuck with him in 33 and 34-year-old Hassan Reddick. No, give him a 3-year deal. 70. If you can get Hassan Reddick for 3 years, $70 million, and be done with him after 2 years, it's better than a third and a fifth round draft pick. That's my opinion. Keep what you know. You can't get rid of Maddox, Bradbury, Slay, Reddick, Cox, all these guys. Who's going to lead the defense? You got to keep at least one elite player. That's a veteran, that it's a voice that can lead, that people can look to. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I always do it as Sylvia. And I always picture Big Plus sitting just laughing, knowing that he was wearing a wire every time I watched the replay. Michael Corleone. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Phil, Cat truly is overrated. The man was a former #1 pick, and he's been lapped around by Ant-Man. Yeah, man. Cat's a good player. I don't want anybody to think I don't think Karl-Anthony Towns is not a good player. Oh, man. Who's better, Karl-Anthony Towns or Tobias Harris? Who's more overrated, Karl-Anthony Towns or Tobias Harris? So that's a good one. But here you go, bringing me back in to the basketball and the Sixers. Even when you don't want to, you accidentally do. Bring me back. Keep what you know is what Elton Brand said to Joshua Harris about, oh my God. That is fair, but it is extremely unfair to compare Hassan Reddick to Tobias Harris. Extremely unfair to do that. Extremely, 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 extremely unfair. Look, I'm not saying I want to keep Hassan Reddick. I'm not saying that I wouldn't do the deal for a third and a fifth. I'm bringing the question to the table. Is it smarter to keep Hassan Reddick on a 3-year, $75 million deal with an out after 2 years, which most contracts have outs, or take a third and fifth round pick? What is better big picture for this team? And right now, because of everything I see happening around the league and seeing happening with this team, I'm kind of thinking Hassan Reddick needs to be kept here. I do. I know Nolan Smith was drafted to replace him. I'm the one that said that. The moment he was drafted, I said that. And I have not written him off. I'm one of the few Eagles fans that have not written Nolan Smith off. There are a lot of people calling him a bust out there. I am not. one of those people. But are you really ready to replace Hassan Reddick and Fletcher Cox and your entire linebacker core and Darius Slay or James Bradbury or both and Kevin Byard and eventually you got to keep somebody. Cat is good, but he's not the greatest big man shooter. Good. Dirk wiped out of absolutely. Karl Anthony Towns is just got the ego of Michael Jordan and the skill set of Paul Reed. Combine the two together. Something like that. I don't know. It's unfair that Ricky Council gets less minutes than Doughton last night. Doughton had a good game. You can't hate on him for that. But yeah, Ricky Council's been putting in the work and he can't get minutes. Get the fuck out of here. Phil hasn't written off the cookie, man. He will never roll it right off Nolan Smith. What are you saying? I have said Tobias Harris needs to go to the bench. He needs to be a DMP coach's decision. 3 months ago, you had never heard me say those words. And Nolan Smith, I don't know what he is. I think he can be very good. I'm excited to see him in Vic Fangio's system. But again, Hassan Reddick is elite already. He's 30. He's shown no signs of slowing down. And you're haggling over $3 million. Basically, 22 from the Eagles, 25 he wants. Get the deal done. A third-round pick is not going to bring you, in the next 3 years, more value than Hassan Reddick is on the field and in the locker room. Smith is a second-year player. What are you expecting? Reddick was still good, but there is a dependency on decent defensive back play for him now that people are respecting him. That's fair. Sure. Look, I'm just trying to see where people's minds are with this. Contradiction, thy name art Phil Stiefel. My apologies, I muted when you were ranting Cookie Man, and I might have missed your Cookie Man DMP take. Nah. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to rile the pot a little bit, stir the pot a little bit, rile me up. You, like Mitch, want me to rant on something. Not going to do it. I'm keeping it calm and collected today. That's what I'm doing. Calm and cool. I'm just saying it might be smarter that Hassan Reddick stays an Eagle. Again, everyone wants Bryce Burns or Chris Jones or Wilkins, all these names on the defensive line. I get it. But a lot of teams want these guys. You've got Hassan Reddick in your building. He knows your team. He's been around a while. This is breaking news. Broncos, I thought we could trade for him. Now, there goes a guy that we wanted at the trade deadline that would make sense for the Eagles. Knows the Fangio style. There are so many safeties on the market. I don't want, but I want to make sure. I don't know. How old is Justin Simmons? I have to look this up real quick. Justin Simmons. On another tab here. He was born in 93. So that makes him 30. A little older than I'd like. I want the Eagles to be bringing in 26-year-old guys. 25, 27-year-old guys. Guys that are just hitting their prime now. We get 3-4 years of prime before they get to that 30. That's what I want. But it's very interesting that he was released. And it's a great secondary option for the Eagles. You see right through with those 2.5 vision. Yeah. Calm, cool, and collected is bad for the Eagles, for the Algos. It's true. Although I've been fired up a lot lately, and the Algos still struggling. The Algo everywhere is struggling, I think. There's got to be something that's changed. Because the views have dropped across all platforms, all shows that I check in on. Just saying. You want prime? Logan Paul got you. Simmons will be 30 or 30 and 31, and I still have PTSD from the last Simmons who played. That's a fair point. As long as we don't let him rent Ben Simmons' old house, then we should be okay. But he's a good backup option if you don't land McKinney or one of the younger guys. Because at least he would come in and know the the Fangio lingo and help some of the younger defensive backs on this team. But I wouldn't be going at Simmons with a 5-year contract. Simmons would be getting a 2 to 3 year contract from me. And there's so much cap space out there, someone's going to give him more. So Simmons is on my list, but he's not number one on my list. I guarantee after the show, I'll open up the Slack channel for PSN writers and family. And I'm guaranteeing the Eagles thread, somebody's going to share out the news that Justin Simmons got cut, and 5 guys are going to be like, ooh, I want him. Ooh, I want him. It's the problem with the Eagles nation. Every cut player, everybody wants. Nobody thinks of their age, their history, injury, their recency, but they just want the big names. I need a winning team built here. Phil, I want guys in their prime. Also, Phil, bring back Hassan. Hassan is in his prime, K1. Like, what are you watching that Hassan Reddick is not in his prime? Hassan Reddick is one of the 5 or 6 best edge rushers in all of football. And I stand by that. Justin Simmons said, yeah. Yeah. We always say Tobias Harris is greater than, or who's better than Tobias Harris? Justin Simmons is better than Kevin Byard. Maybe not as much as people think. Eagles Eagles content creators will say, breaking Justin Simmons to the Eagles. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Look, again, this is not knocking Justin Simmons. He will make our defense better next year, for sure. Considering we only have Reed Blankenship on safety anyway. I'm just saying, I'm not committing huge to Justin Simmons. Hassan's numbers were way down last year, just saying. Hassan Reddick's sack number was down 5 sacks. He played with a torn thumb for the first 3 games. Didn't get a sack. All right. He also had an awful secondary that was getting picked apart. All right. 3-step drops. Boom. Balls out. Excuse me. Because of the secondary. You had a mid-season defensive coordinator unofficial change. Changing everything. Not making excuses, but I'm giving you excuses. And I'm giving you reasons why. Hassan Reddick, I bet you if you look at like the analytical things, which I'm not a big fan of, if you look at pressure rates and stuff like that and win rates and stuff like that, I bet you Hassan Reddick's numbers did not drop. He just had a lot of almost sacks last year because the ball was getting out a little quicker against him than years past. Just saying. Yes, 11 sacks is still really good production for anybody, bad defense or not. Yeah, I'm not in the boat that says Hassan Reddick is on the decline. I'm on the boat saying I don't want to risk 5 years to find out. But it might be smarter to give in to some of Reddick's requests. Yeah, the almost sack coat. Look, I know it was my thing last year. The almost sack thing. Yeah, it was my thing. I get it. It annoyed you. Just as much as my Sixers talk annoys you. I hear the sharp carpet shampooer going in the background. Means one of my dogs peed in the house. Poor Melissa. Poor wife. Hassan's production is dipping, but he is far from washed. And I don't know if he dipped in production. His stats declined, but he was still producing. He was still getting pressure. He was still doing his thing. The defense was just a train wreck last year. And it got worse as the season went on because of the change. My dogs do not agree with you. Not at all. 0 chance. They love me, not you. Well, they would love anybody if you gave them food and water. That's all they care about, really. Honestly speaking, that's all that matters to them. Look, I think Hassan Reddick stays. I think he should stay. And I think it's a hard decision to make. But if you were going to tell me a second-round pick was on the table, sure. Much better chance of getting an impactful player in the second round than the third round. And I need an impactful player on this team. There are a lot of holes on this team. Why create another hole by losing Hassan Reddick? Make him happy. Keep him. Get the deal done. That's my opinion. And I want that deal done now, honestly. Just get it done now. Let's put this story to bed. Get the deal done now. Oh, for sure. 100%, Mitchy Boo. My dog is the easiest kidnapped dog in the world. He goes to everyone, just wants food. Yeah, exactly. You can bring it to my house right now. They ain't gonna stop you. Hey, all you gotta do is walk in with a slice of pizza or something. I'm merely comparing statistics when I speak. Production dip. Hassan should be back, in my opinion, but not at the cost of passing up. No. But see, here's the thing. That's what we're talking about. Been reported the Eagles won a second, but no one is willing to go to a second round pick. That's the problem. Right now, according to Adam Schefter, the best the Eagles can expect is a third and a fifth round pick. Is it worth passing up on Hassan Reddick because of $3 million for that third round? It's basically, you're basically debating a third round pick or $3 million more to Hassan Reddick. What keeps you close to that Super Bowl next year? A third round pick or Hassan Reddick at $3 million? That is basically what we're talking about. And that is why I say keep Hassan Reddick. It's also why I say keep James Bradbury. Spend that money on safety, linebacker, running back, wide receiver, right guard, wherever. See what you got. Yeah. Hassan Reddick, of course. Yes. My dog is saying take the third and the fifth and a kibble. They're not getting the kibble, though. Just the third and the fifth. Yeah, exactly. Look, I'm just saying. I think it'll be if we take a deal like that, a third and a fifth for Hassan Reddick, and then don't land one of the elite defensive ends in football in free agency, screwed. Our defense will be terrible. This is not a Nolan Reddick is a bust comment. But who would you rather have right now? Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat or Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat? Let's say if you want to talk about different production, Josh Sweat is the one that had the different production last year. The Eagles should be looking at the move from Josh Sweat, not Hassan Reddick. For some reason, Eagles Nation just loves Josh Sweat, and Josh Sweat could do no wrong. But Hassan Reddick, you want to trade away for a third round pick. Hassan Reddick is 10 times the player that Josh Sweat is. Now and in the future. Like 47 times this season alone, Mitch. Elton Brand's taking Jamal Adams and Poyer, yeah. Let's just make our defense as old as possible. That's exactly what's going to solve all our problems. Yeah, no. Pass. Hard pass, Marshawn. On Jamal, especially Jamal Adams. I can actually make a case for Simmons or Poyer, even though they're older. If the deals are team friendly in the year department. I don't need 5 years for any. I don't want a 4 or 5 year deal for any player over 30 years old. 3 years or less. That's all I want. That's how I would be running it. Why give up Reddick for anything that he's for less than what he's worth? We should get a second for him. If you're not going to get a second for him, Duck, that's why you keep him. I am at the point where it's a second minimum or I am not moving on from Hassan Reddick. Plain and simple. And I don't think a team will. Free agency is stacked. Everybody's armed with massive cap space. Teams are not going to overpay in a trade for Hassan Reddick and then have to pay him. Because if you trade for Hassan Reddick, if you give up a second round pick for him, you've also got to give him, if the Eagles are willing to go to $75 million over 3 years, and it's still not enough for him, that means that you got to give him more than that. Nobody's going to give up a second round pick and $80 million to Hassan Reddick. So you just keep him. Don't scoff the extra $3 million Reddick wants. How he can sign at least 3 starting linebackers. That's true. He could probably get 3 linebackers and 2 running backs for $3 million. That's depth. Reddick won't get a new contract until the Eagles see what players like Chase Young get signed. Maybe they'll let the market play out there. It's possible. Nobody thought we'd get A.J. Brown on draft day either. Never underestimate Howie Roseman. That is true. You can never underestimate off-season Howie Roseman. The guy manipulates GMs and agents constantly. and gets what he wants. I don't know how, but he does. We gave up multiple seconds for Jimmy Butler. Yeah, seconds. That's it. He could get a whole starting linebacker room for him, but he could get a whole running back room for $3 million. Yeah, it's crazy. Shefty isn't the oracle of Thebes, you know. I know. He's just speaking his mind. Which, on a side note, I didn't get a chance to say it. This past weekend, Chris Mortensen passed away, and I was watching SportsCenter on Sunday, and Adam Schefter was giving a little tribute to him, and you can see how much it tore him up, and it broke my heart. Chris Mortensen's a legend, been around for a long time, battled his cancer for a long time, and it was very sad to learn of the passing of Chris Mortensen. Just one of the best football minds in broadcasting out there. Never fell into the clickbait social media trend that a lot of the other reporters do. There's got to be more Chris Mortensens out there and less Chris Sims out there. And it's a shame. Shame that we lost him. I just want to say that. Like, you could just really see Adam Schefter tearing up, trying to talk about him on SportsCenter on Sunday morning. And it touched my heart a little bit, you know. The amount of dirt, and yes, Marshawn, 1,000, where is it? There it is. 1,000% accurate on this. Mort was a legend. Yes, Chris Mortensen, rest in peace. He mentored and guided so many of them. Exactly. That's right. Rest in paradise. Correct. Final couple minutes. The amount of dirt Howie has on the league is what is keeping the tush push alive. No, the fact that the tush push is a legal football play is what is keeping it alive. I had to put that up there again, Marshawn, for you. All right, let's start the wrap-up process here. What's on the agenda tomorrow? Who knows? Maybe more Sixers talk? Doubtful. I got to find out if Kylie will be on for Phillies talk or not. I know she's leaving for Clearwater either tomorrow or Saturday. We'll see if Kylie will be on tomorrow or not for Friday's Phillies talk. More free agency talk. I'm sure Justin Simmons and more names will be cut throughout the day today. We'll see what we have on the agenda tomorrow, guys. But, you know, we'll see. We can continue on with this conversation. Obviously, Hassan Reddick debating his worth is more entertaining to you guys than talking to Tobias Harris and the Sixers. So that's what we got. What's next on Fairway? I don't know. I got Victor Hovland and Harris English bets this week, K1. And they're also the two that mainly anchored my fantasy lineup for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Just saying. They were my bets. 19-1 on Victor Hovland. 50-1 on Harris English. A very small card this week. Clearwater. Say it right. It's Clearwater. That's what I said. Simmons is a 4-time All-Pro. Insane accolade. Ben Simmons is a 4-time All-Pro, Marshawn? Crap, I must have missed 3 of those seasons. It will always be water to me. Sorry. Can't change that. All right, guys, we're wrapping it up right there. Trending the AM. Right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. I am your host, Phil Stiefel. We'll be back tomorrow. Just know Patrick Cantlay. I thought about going after Patrick Cantlay this week. Didn't like the number on him, though. Yeah. We're back tomorrow with another fun-filled episode. Who knows what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but we'll be back tomorrow, guys. Everybody have a great day, and as always, guys, go Birds.